Hello, and welcome to The Sleepy Owl, a cozy nook where you can gently unwind and drift into a peaceful night's rest. Tonight, we're sharing another soothing story, one that can help settle your mind and foster a feeling of quiet calm. But first, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for a tranquil, rejuvenating sleep. Settle in comfortably, and with each slow inhale and gentle exhale, allow the day's worries to gradually fade away. It can be challenging to pull away from the day's busyness, particularly as bedtime approaches. Yet remember, the less we stress over falling asleep quickly, the easier it becomes for our minds to release any tension. Let the gentle rhythm of your breath carry off lingering concerns, and let tonight's story be your guide toward deep relaxation. Now make yourself comfortable and let the warmth of the sleepy owl envelop you. Enjoy the story, and may you find a restful, peaceful slumber here in our little nighttime sanctuary. Envision an expanse of sapphire ocean, vast and restless. Far out, where sea meets sky, sunlight ignites the horizon, spilling molten gold across the water's distant rim. Attend closely, and the air carries the faint cries of gulls, the ceaseless sigh of waves collapsing onto sand. Gradually, an island materializes from the haze. Its heart is a tangle of palms and dense foliage, encircled entirely by beaches of pale, sun-bleached sand. Here and there, modest dwellings cluster, their forms blurring, merging organically with the terrain. From one such hamlet, a slender path snakes inland, and it is here our narrative unfurls. A gentle warmth stirs the palm crowns overhead. Your gaze lifts, captivated by light fracturing through the tattered leaves, shifting them from burnished gold to deep emerald as they sway. Sunlight plays across your features. You lift a hand to shield your eyes. The shimmering air imbues everything with an almost unreal quality, as if you've slipped anchor from the river of time. It is only you and the primal forces, intensely present, palpable in each passing second. The languid heat stretches the day thin. Time drips slowly, measured by the drone of insects, the rustle of fronds, the flicker of sun against your closed eyelids. A conviction settles within you. This isle holds something singular, a quality unknown in other lands you've traversed. Secret slumber here you sense, awaiting awakening, perhaps by your own hand, perhaps by another soul drawn to its enigma. The notion is compelling, lending an unexpected gravity to your otherwise aimless stroll this humid afternoon. The trail before you meanders deeper among the palms. Fallen fronds, brittle and yellowed, accumulate beside the narrow way. Now and then, one strays onto the path, yielding underfoot with the dry crunch of thick, waxed paper. The air hangs heavy, suffused with perfume. You discern the sweet fragrance of coconut, the tang of pineapple, layered over deeper notes of decaying wood and damp earth. A saline sharpness, the essence of salt and seaweed, weaves through the other scents, a constant reminder of the ocean's proximity. Here, the sea's presence is an indelible stain. You feel its pull, an invisible tether drawing you shoreward. Each walk undertaken on this island has culminated, inevitably, upon the beach, gazing out at the scintillating tapestry of blue and green. Moments have arisen when the urge surged to abandon the sandy verge, to stride directly into the embrace of the water, swimming onward, spinning, exulting in the turquoise waves, utterly free. You grasp why legends teem with chronicles of the sea, of those who chose it for their home. Whether driven by romance, audacity, or sheer necessity, the decision to forsake solid ground for a life afloat holds a potent allure. To imagine the groan of aged timbers beneath your feet, the sharp snap of canvas swelling with wind. Pressing onward, you arrive at a bend where a palm leans askew, its trunk barring the path. A hand reaches out, tracing the rough, scaled bark as you step carefully over the angled wood. It serves as a quiet reminder of your status, a transient guest among these ancient sentinels. They have witnessed innumerable passages, heard the tread of countless feet before yours, and will stand long after your presence here is but a memory. As you proceed, a delicate prickling of moisture beads upon your skin. The days and nights share a persistent warmth, a humidity that makes the sporadic caress of a breeze a welcome reprieve. As it whispers across the nape of your neck, a coolness begins to bloom. For an instant, your thoughts clarify, the dreamy veil lifting. The edges of the palm leaves sharpen. The greens of the tangled undergrowth vibrate with intensity. A fly buzzes past, its sound distinct, precise, like the resonant thrum of insects whose chorus fills the trees. Beneath it all, you become aware of the rhythmic cadence of your own heart. Close your eyes. Focus. Attend to the life sheltering here from the fierce sun beneath the palm's protective awning. Your own pulse, the insectile hum, the rustle of some small creature in the distance, a gull's cry, a human presence. The breeze falters, and the dreamlike state descends once more. The muggy warmth enfolds the trees like a shroud, muffling thoughts and sounds anew. It is you and the elements, vibrant yet muted. Your feet carry you onward, navigating the gentle undulations of the path. Occasionally, a frond crumbles beneath your shoe, or a patch of loose earth shifts slightly with your passing. Your gaze drifts languidly, from roots to foliage, to a sliver of azure sky, to a mound of damp leaves composting at a tree's base. Time dissolves as you move through the whispering palms. Then the trail confronts a dense thicket of trees, packed so tightly that the world beyond is obscured. You halt, allowing your other senses to sharpen. Closing your eyes, you draw a deep breath. The familiar scents return: pineapple and coconut, sodden leaves, earth, seaweed, but the brine is markedly stronger here. Your senses quicken to the salt tang, and a new sound penetrates the forest's drone. the rhythmic crash and retreat of waves upon sand. The beach must be near. Ahead, a V-shaped opening appears between two palms, just wide enough to permit passage. Bracing hands against the coarse trunks, you push through the encroaching vegetation. Emerging from the screen of green, you are confronted by a breathtaking vista, a gloriously wind-swept beach. Golden sand extends in both directions, dissolving into the haze of distance. Directly before you, cerulean water deepens, culminating in white-crested waves that surge and tumble onto the shifting shore, an eternal rhythm of advance and withdrawal. You approach the waterline. A recent wave has left behind a lacework of foam and a darker, damp outline marking its reach. You trace this shadowed sand with your foot, stepping back just as the next wave rushes towards you. As the water nears, you stoop, letting it sluice over your fingers. It is surprisingly warm. Grains of sand cling to your skin as the receding water tugs gently. Straightening, you scan the length of the beach. Far off, a large dark silhouette rests upon the shore. Shielding your eyes, you strain to discern its details, but the distance renders it indistinct. Curiosity becomes your compass, urging you onward. With each step, the incoming waves erase your footprints, smoothing the sand. To an unseen watcher, it might appear as though you materialized directly from the sea, rather than emerging from the palm forest. You fall into step with the ocean's cadence. The air here is bracing compared to the heavy stillness amongst the trees. A sea breeze flutters your clothes and evaporates the moisture from your skin, bringing a pleasant coolness. Gusts whip across the sand, sculpting miniature dunes along the berm separating forest from shore. Each gust stirs a frenzy of whitecaps on the blue water. Even from here, you can see the deeper ocean churning. Soon, you are close enough to the dark shape to perceive details. It is, unmistakably, a large, old-fashioned wooden sailing ship, beached and derelict for what must be a considerable time. It lists heavily to one side. Gaping holes mar the hull. Sections of timbered siding are missing. You ponder its final voyage. Where was it bound when fate cast it upon these lonely shores? Who sailed aboard it? What tempest or misfortune led to its ruin here? Approaching the wreck, its sheer scale becomes truly apparent. Standing beside it, you feel diminished by the massive hull, parts of which are encrusted with salt, sand, and barnacles. Its dark wood presents a formidable silhouette against the azure sky. You tilt your head back, craning to see the tops of the masts. A section of the keel is exposed. You reach out, touching the wood. The surface is coarse, abrasive, as if years immersed in the brine have transmuted the vessel into something elemental, more sea creature than man-made craft. Clumps of desiccated seaweed cling like tattered drapery. Thick, frayed ropes dangle, swaying intermittently in the breeze. They appear almost waxed or tarred, though perhaps it is merely time's alchemy, transforming fibers into curious relics a beachcomber might gather. Circumspectly, you circle the ship until you reach a breach in the hull. Peering inside reveals a storage hold cluttered with wooden crates, chests, and sacks. You rest a hand on the splintered wood. In that instant, a peculiar sensation flows through you, a summons, an inexplicable pull towards this wreck. As if the ship itself exerts a magnetic force, it feels less like your discovery and more like the ship has chosen you. With a quick glance along the deserted beach, you hoist yourself through the opening into the vessel's shadowed belly and begin to explore. Subdued daylight filters through scattered holes and fissures in the aged timbers. The air within is still laden with dust, yet paradoxically drier than the humid air outside. A faint aroma lingers, perhaps spices, maybe dried fruit, mingled with a sweet, scorched sugar scent reminiscent of grains or rum. Most containers are secured with heavy iron padlocks. You investigate a few open sacks, finding their contents largely vanished, save for a shriveled lemon, hard as stone, and an empty glass bottle fitted with a snug stopper. Navigating the dimly lit labyrinth of cargo, you discover a flight of stairs ascending to an upper deck. An intuition assures you of your safety, as though the ship itself welcomes your presence. Each wooden step groans under your weight, the sharp sound reverberating through the silence. A fleeting impulse urges quiet, lest you disturb someone, but the realization quickly follows. This vessel was abandoned long ago. There is only you, the cargo, the sand, the sea. Reaching the next level, you find the crew's quarters. Old, musty hammocks hang limply from ceiling beams or are slung between supports. Many are shredded, remnants left by their occupants after the wreck. Little else holds interest here, so you continue upward, emerging onto a deck open to the sky. The brilliant sun feels both blinding and benevolent after the ship's dim interior. Your eyes adjust, and you wander the deck at leisure. You find the helm. The great wooden wheel is weathered and cracked, yet standing before it, one hand resting upon it, gazing seaward, evokes a sense of command. Captain, or perhaps helmsman. The thought sparks curiosity about the people who once stood here. What were their narratives? From where did they hail? Where did their journeys end? Answers you may never possess. Remarkably, the masts still stand, mostly intact. Crafted from robust tree trunks, they rise with impressive straightness, commanding your admiration. Near the base of one mast, a flutter of movement catches your eye. Intrigued, you approach. It might be a torn fragment of hammock or a piece of sacking, but drawing closer reveals a scrap of black fabric stirring in the breeze. Carefully, you lift aside coils of rope and a pair of heavy metal hooks that lie upon the cloth, maintaining a grip on the fabric itself, lest a gust snatch it away. Once freed, you unfold it with both hands. What it reveals steals your breath, and there, stark against the sable cloth, leered a bleached white skull above crossed femurs. As the realization solidifies, a pirate flag, a sudden gust wrenches one side from your grasp. For a moment, it streams horizontally, just as it would have flown atop the mast, snapping smartly in the warm wind. The skull seems to grin mockingly as it dances. You picture sighting this flag through a spyglass as the ship bears down upon you. Then, conversely, you imagine sailing beneath such an emblem, the grinning death's head announcing your arrival on distant shores. The wind subsides, the flag hangs slack in your hand. You fold it meticulously and tuck it back beneath the hooks and ropes. There is one place you must now locate, the captain's quarters. Soon you are pushing open a door and stepping into the most appointed cabin on the ship. Light streams through slanted stern windows, illuminating the large wooden desk. A fine patina of dust coats most surfaces, and tiny wind-drifted mounds of sand collect in the corners. The floorboards, though worn, possess an elegance, as do the tarnished light fixtures and various nautical instruments scattered about. Upon the desk lies a stack of papers. You leaf through them gently. The pages are yellowed, brittle with age. Many edges crumble at your touch. You make out lists of cargo, ports of call, perhaps a crew manifest. Whether these documents belong to the pirate captain or a predecessor, you cannot know. Turning from the desk, you move to a window seat overlooking the ship's stern and the vast blue expanse beyond. Were you the captain, you reflect, this is where you would pass the hours, dreaming of new horizons, pondering adventures past or those yet to dawn. Leaning against the seat cushions, you feel something solid behind you. Reaching back, your fingers close around a long, cylindrical wooden case. Carefully, you unscrew the two halves and withdraw the rolled parchment contained within. As you unroll it, revealing its contents, a profound sense of understanding washes over you. This, you realize, is what the ship intended for you to find. Unfurled in your grasp lies a map, rendered with exquisite care. Studying it intently, you see it depicts not some distant unknown land, but this very island. And there, just within the tree line, not far from your current position, is marked a dark X, an obsidian X. Marking what? The answer eludes you, yet a certainty resonates. Discovery is your charge. Your gaze sweeps the cabin, landing on a long-handled shovel propped against one wall. An incongruous item for a captain's cabin, you muse, or perhaps not. Perhaps this map explains the ship's presence here all those years ago. The crew might have been preparing to venture inland, seeking whatever the X denoted, when disaster struck, wrecking their vessel. Somehow, the map and shovel were left behind. With a final look through the stern window, you rise, collecting the shovel as you depart. Back on the open deck, you pause, struck anew by the wreck's haunting beauty. In its prime, it must have been a magnificent sight, bustling with life and purpose beneath the watchful gaze of the black flag. Carrying the map and shovel, you descend the stairs, past the crew's quarters, down into the ship's deepest, darkest hold. From the storage area, you navigate back to the damaged section of the hull and carefully climb out. While the feel of sand beneath your shoes is a relief, a shiver traces your spine, a lingering echo of the strange magic felt aboard the pirate ship. Consulting the map, you locate a dotted line leading into the forest, originating between two distinctively crossed palm trees. You scan the tree line, searching for this landmark. It doesn't take long to spot them, two trunks leaning into each other, forming an almost perfect X. The sand surrounding the ship is soft, yielding. Loose grains cascade down miniature slopes as your feet sink, leaving deep impressions. Soon, however, you reach the berm, dividing beach from forest. Stepping onto it, you find firmer ground, strewn with pebbles, twigs, and dried fronds. You follow the tree line to the pair of crossed palms. Bending slightly, you pass beneath their intersection as if crossing a threshold into another realm. A small carving on the right-hand trunk arrests your attention. Etched into the bark is a miniature circle above an X, a simplified skull and crossbones. You are indeed on the correct path. Returning to the forest's embrace, you notice the light has diminished considerably. Sunset approaches. The shadows lengthen, heralding the coming night. A soft breeze drifts inland from the beach, lending a welcome coolness to this edge of the palm grove. Ahead, you discern what appears to be a faint footpath winding among the trees. It roughly corresponds to the dotted line on your map, so you follow its course. Brittle fronds snap underfoot. Insects drone their vespers. Deeper in, you arrive at a secluded clearing, a small grove. According to the map, this cluster of trees encircles the spot marked X. You approach the nearest tree, examining the rough texture of its trunk. Just as you anticipated, the same small mark is carved there. You proceed to the next tree, finding the mark again. Methodically, you move from trunk to trunk, checking each one. With every touch of bark, you feel an increasing connection to this captivating place, further enveloped by its dreamlike aura. Perhaps it's that same magnetic pull, or simply the map's guidance, that draws you toward the grove center. As you step into the circle formed by the trees, you know you've arrived somewhere significant. On the ground before you lies a large X, meticulously formed from pebbles of diverse colors. The stones glints softly in the fading sunlight, filtering through the palm canopy. X marks the spot, you murmur, feeling the shovel's weight in your hand. You pause, absorbing the tranquil beauty of the forest, appreciating the artistry of this marker laid down so long ago. The identity of those who left the signs, who charted the map, remains unknown, yet you offer silent gratitude for leading you on this enthralling quest. The insectile hum seems to intensify as you focus on the pebble design. Raising the shovel, you set its point into the earth beside the X and begin to dig. Seconds meld into minutes, marked by the rhythmic thud of metal against soil. The warm air settles around you. Moisture gathers on your arms and neck. A light breeze sighs through the trees, carrying the promise of cooler air on the beach. You will return there soon, but first, this task must be completed. Then, the shovel strikes something solid with a distinct metallic clang. It jars slightly in your grip. Setting the tool aside, you kneel beside the hole. Using your hands, you brush away the loose earth, uncovering the object. A large wooden chest, bound with heavy iron bands. Foreign scents, coconut and pineapple, damp leaves and seaweed, flood your senses, anchoring you firmly to this place, this moment. Exhaling slowly, you lift the heavy lid. Jewels, doubloons of gold, pieces of silver, they gleam and chime softly as motes dance in the slanted columns of light, piercing the gloom. Dusty shafts of light engulf them. Bundles of old papers, yellowed or tied with leather thongs, occupy one corner. Garnet rings and emerald-studded necklaces lie tangled with seemingly mundane items. Hat pins, notes, doubloons. And there, resting gently atop the hoard, is a delicate glass bottle containing a rolled message. You cannot decipher the script. It faces away from you. As you lift the bottle, something inside rattles against the glass. A small piece of jewelry, perhaps, or a single coin. To your knowledge, you alone possess the secret of this treasure. It is a confidence shared only between you and the island. The insects and the ancient palms are the sole witnesses to your discovery today. Carefully setting the message bottle beside the hole, you close the chest's lid. Your secret is safe, you whisper to the silent grove. You take up the shovel and refill the hole, replacing the earth. But instead of recreating the simple X with the pebbles, you arrange them into the shape you saw carved on the trees. An X, surmounted by a circle. Gathering the shovel, map, and glass bottle, you exit the palm grove, ducking back under the crossed trunks. Retracing your steps along the tree line, down the berm, across the soft sand, you make your way back to the pirate ship. Climbing back through the hull breach, ascending the stairs once more to the captain's quarters, you leave the map and shovel where you found them. Then you emerge onto the open deck, just as the sun begins its final descent. The sky ignites, a blaze of crimson along the horizon, feathered with deep orange bleeding into the darkening blue above. You turn the bottle absently between your fingers, listening to the faint jingle of the tiny object trapped within. One day you will unstop the bottle, unfurl the message, when you feel ready for whatever adventure it might hold. And one day, perhaps, when the time feels right, you will return to the forest, to the treasure buried beneath the marked trees. But for now, you remain here, breathing the sunset air aboard the derelict pirate ship. You listen to the ancient wood groaning softly beneath your feet. Imagine the sharp snap of black sails catching the wind, and feel the expansive freedom of a life lived at sea, gazing toward endless horizons. Within the amber glow filtering through her Venetian hostel window, Elara drifted, a half-smile playing on her lips, as her friend Chloe artfully twisted the final strands of her hair into place. The city hummed outside, but Elara was lost, replaying an electric moment from the sun-drenched morning. Navigating the glorious chaos of a street market, a misstep sent her tumbling, not onto the ancient cobblestones, but directly into the steadying arms of a stranger. One breathless instant, she was falling. The next, held fast by a young man with hair like polished chestnut and eyes the startling, brilliant green of sea glass. He'd murmured his name, Matteo, and the bustling piazza, the vendors' calls, the scent of brine and blossoms, all dissolved into an insignificant haze. It felt scripted, a scene plucked from celluloid dreams. Elara had braced for a polite nod, a swift departure after his rescue. Instead, he lingered, his gaze holding hers, and boldly asked her to join him for an evening out, right there amidst the market throng. A thrill, sharp and unexpected, coursed through her. To her own astonishment, she hadn't hesitated, not only accepting, but proposing that very night. A slow grin spread across Matteo's face before he requested her number. And just like that, a date materialized in the most mythic, heart-stirring city imaginable. Venice. The name itself had resonated within her since childhood, a whispered promise of adventure, of la bella vita. She recalled the first time images of this water-woven jewel had captivated her young eyes. The impossible grandeur of the Grand Canal, the intricate lacework of Gothic facades. It seemed less a real place, more an ethereal realm conjured from paint and poetry. She'd vowed then to one day drift upon its liquid avenues, to inhale the unique perfume of history, brine, and blossoms that clung to the timeless city, to witness firsthand the stone palazzi rising like ancient sentinels from the labyrinthine waterways. Across oceans, its siren call, thick with mystery and romance, had only intensified over the years. And now, impossibly, she was here, in Venice, with a date. The sheer wonder of it threatened to overwhelm her. Thankfully, Chloe, her steadfast anchor, radiated unwavering enthusiasm. The moment Elara had returned from the market, breathless with her tale, Chloe had launched into action, transforming into stylist and strategist. Now, as evening deepened, they surveyed the contents of Elara's travel-worn suitcase spread across the hostel beds. Laughter bubbled between them as Chloe held up garment after garment. What to wear? How much makeup? Hair up or down? Which shoes? Every detail was meticulously considered. As Elara slipped into possibilities, she voiced a fleeting doubt. Perhaps she should postpone. settle in first. Spend these initial days exploring together. Chloe, shaking her head firmly while proffering a pair of delicate gold sandals, dismissed the notion. Absolutely not, she declared. This is serendipity, Alara. Fate nudged you right into his arms. Besides, she added with a theatrical yawn, the jet lag was truly settling in. A quiet evening with a book, or perhaps just immediate sleep, sounded blissful. Flopping onto the nearest bed, her exhaustion was palpable. Decision made. Chloe would rest. Alara would embrace the unexpected. A quick text confirmed their plans. Mateo's reply was instantaneous. He was en route, promising, in his words, a night to remember, arriving at their hostel door precisely at 7. Alara enveloped Chloe in a hug, murmuring thanks for the transformation. Catching her reflection, she admired Chloe's handiwork with her hair. The simple teal silk dress she wore seemed to illuminate her fair hair and catch the warmth in her brown eyes. She'd nearly left it behind, deeming it too impractical, but now it felt perfect. Understated elegance for an adventure in a waking dream. She felt almost regal, poised on the threshold of enchantment. They'd initially considered strappy black heels, but practicality won out. Venice demanded exploration on foot. Alara yearned to lose herself in its winding Cowley and cross countless bridges without a second thought, making comfortable footwear essential. A glance at the clock sent her towards the door. Purse retrieved, a final wave to Chloe, and a promise to recount every detail upon her return. Alara stepped into the corridor, the door clicking softly behind her, and descended the stairs, her heart performing a joyful staccato against her ribs. Hopefully, Mateo would be waiting just outside. Passing through the small reception area, she exchanged a wave with the hostel owner, whose benevolent smile seemed a reflection of the city's inherent cheerfulness. Everyone she'd encountered radiated warmth. Living amidst such beauty, she mused, must surely cultivate perpetual joy. Emerging onto the street felt like slipping through a veil in time. No cars snarled. Only pedestrians ambled past the now shuttered stalls of the nearby Rialto market. Their hostel nestled close to this historic heart on the Grand Canal's western bank, an area pulsating with life for centuries. Fishmongers here, fruit and vegetable vendors there, a vibrant tapestry of local commerce each morning. In the relative quiet of the early evening, with fewer people about, spotting him was easy. He stood beneath a softly glowing lamp-post, holding a vibrant bouquet of roses in shades of blush and crimson. Mateo, he looked incredibly dapper, sending a fresh wave of happy anticipation through her. As they exchanged greetings, he presented the flowers. Alara lifted them, inhaling the intoxicating sweet perfume. Words tumbled out from both of them simultaneously, a charming collision of nerves and excitement. She laughed, thanking him profusely as she admired the blooms. The choice was simple, Mateo said, his green eyes twinkling. For a name as lovely as its bearer. He offered his arm, a gesture both courteous and intimate, and they began to walk. As they strolled, his voice, melodic and accented, became her guide. Venice, he began, his tone rich with affection for his home, rests within a crescent lagoon. Over 100 small islands, knitted together by some 400 bridges, form the city. He explained the absence of roads, the dominance of the canals, around 150 arteries feeding into the majestic Grand Canal. It curves like a great S from above, he described, a ribbon of deepest blue against the terracotta roofs. Perhaps the only city on earth where water dictates the rhythm of life. The true magic, Matteo continued, gesturing towards the elegant facades flanking a narrower waterway, lies in the palaces lining these canals, especially the Grand Canal, Gothic, Renaissance masterpieces. Every dome, every bell tower seems adorned with frescoes, inlaid with precious marble. His passion was infectious. With its waterways and unparalleled architecture, Venice stands alone. And tonight, he declared with a subtle flourish, we explore its soul. Ilara smiled. You're quite the impressive guide, she remarked. His love for Venice was palpable, deepening her own eagerness. Arm in arm, they meandered onwards. It is undeniably a city for walking, Matteo agreed, and for romance, especially, he added with a knowing look, aboard a gondola. He spoke of the iconic boat, its sleek black form a globally recognized symbol of Venice. Ilara nodded. She'd spent hours studying photographs of these elegant vessels. Nothing compares, Matteo mused, to gliding through the canals at twilight, serenaded by the gondolier. Perhaps after dinner, Ilara ventured. Matteo winked. I anticipated the question. A visit isn't complete without it. The sun began its descent as they navigated narrow back streets, the air thick with the tantalizing aromas of Italian cuisine. The sky bled into a breathtaking fuchsia pink. Matteo pointed out ancient churches, their surfaces hinting at priceless marble within, and tall, elegant merchant houses, testament to the maritime commerce that built Venice's fortune. Ilara gazed, captivated by the densely packed vertical architecture, the sheer scale of even modest buildings. She had little sense of their exact location within the labyrinthine city, beyond knowing her hostel was near the Rialto market. The density of landmarks and history was delightfully overwhelming. Then ahead, a colossal structure loomed, soaring skyward with 3 distinct walkways traced by twinkling lights. A bridge, but not just any bridge. She turned to Matteo, who was already smiling. The Ponte di Rialto, he announced, one of the most famous bridges in the world. Ilara stared, momentarily speechless. Its magnificence stealing her breath. Matteo recounted its history. The original wooden structure replaced by this 16th century stone marvel, designed by Antonio da Ponte, Anthony of the Bridge, fittingly. Even Michelangelo had been considered, but the local architect won the commission. Mesmerized, they ascended the steps towards the bridge's apex. Reaching the central balustrade, Ilara stopped, gripping the cool stone railing, her gaze sweeping across the wide expanse of the Grand Canal. This was the view, the one emblazoned on countless postcards. She'd suspected it would be iconic. Now she knew it was definitive. Brightly colored palazzi with their red-tiled roofs flanked the waterway, alive with the traffic of boats and barges. Matteo pointed out gondolas slicing through the blue-green water and identified the largest vessel, the Vaporetto, Venice's water bus. Little steamer, he translated the name, a nod to its predecessors. In a city of liquid streets, such transport felt utterly logical. They watched a Vaporetto pause near the bank. A couple, aided by a fellow passenger's outstretched hand, climbed aboard, the boat rocking gently before resuming its journey into the canal's flow. The Grand Canal was undeniably the city's vibrant artery. Looking down, they even saw gondoliers serenading their passengers as they passed beneath the immense arches. Ilara leaned her arms on the railing, absorbing the scene. Matteo joined her, and they stood in comfortable silence, watching the ceaseless ballet of vessels below. La Serenissima, the most serene. The nickname felt profoundly true, Ilara thought. Laughter drifted on the evening air. Fellow onlookers seemed as captivated as she was. The sunset intensified the beauty, painting pale velvet streaks across the heavens. Ilara slipped out her phone, capturing the vista before turning to snap a picture of Matteo. He then politely asked a nearby stranger to photograph them together, ensuring the glorious canal formed their backdrop. The kind man obliged, chuckling at their broad smiles and remarking they made a handsome pair before handing back the phone and moving on. Matteo winked at Ilara, taking one last shot of her against the fading light, declaring it the best yet. Pocketing her phone, they watched the final rays surrender the sky. It was, quite simply, the most beautiful scene she had ever witnessed. Romance felt tangible, woven into the very air. As lights began to twinkle in the windows overlooking the canal, the scene grew even more enchanting. Spectral mists coiled upwards from the water's inky surface, softly shrouding the spectacular buildings. "I could stand here forever," Ilara whispered, "and never tire of this. I don't know if anything else in the city could surpass it." Matteo nodded in understanding. "I don't blame you. The Grand Canal is the true heart of Venice." Finally, they drew away from the railing, linking arms once more. Descending the steps, they stepped off the bridge and back onto the street level. Above, the night sky deepened, pricked with the first stars. Matteo led them to a charming restaurant tucked onto a corner, overlooking the water. He'd already secured a table in the back, the one, he assured her, with the finest view. They settled in just as a waiter approached with a cheerful "Buona sera" and presented menus. As the waiter retreated, Matteo leaned in conspiratorially. "This place is authentic," he whispered, "not like the tourist traps." Ilara laughed. "Good thing I'm dining with a local, then." Perusing the menus, she asked for his recommendations. He scanned the pages thoughtfully before looking up. "Fritto misto. The mixed fried seafood is the perfect starter," he declared, "and for the main course, risi e bisi, rice and peas, Venetian style. Delicious." Knowing the portions were generous, they agreed to share. They relayed their choices to the returning waiter, who scribbled them down efficiently. It was a perfect evening. A cool breeze stirred Ilara's hair, carrying the faint, briny scent of the canal and the distant murmur of voices and laughter. Dinner was exquisite. Each shared bite, Ilara proclaimed, surpassed the last. She felt utterly relaxed, completely at ease in Mateo's company. Conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter, and time seemed to dissolve around them. Too soon, the waiter returned to gently inform them they were nearing closing time. Mateo settled the bill. Sensing a flicker of disappointment in Ilara's eyes that their magical evening might be concluding, he reached across the table and took her hand. A smile touched his lips. "Here, in this city of canals and mists," he murmured, "the night is only just beginning." He revealed his final surprise. The gondola ride awaited. Ilara's delight surged. Their adventure wasn't over yet. They stepped out of the restaurant, strolling alongside the dark water. Ilara's heart gave a little leap when she saw it. A sleek, black vessel bobbing gently, waiting just for them. The perfect coda to a perfect first date in the city of romance. As they settled into the plush cushions, Ilara noted the soothing sound of water lapping against ancient stone walls. As the gondola began its silent glide down the canal, the gondolier, true to Mateo's promise, began to sing, his voice a hauntingly beautiful melody that echoed softly across the water. The experience was profoundly serene, deeply calming. A blanket of peace settled over Ilara. She looked at Mateo, her eyes shining, and smiled. "Thank you," she whispered, "for the most romantic Venetian adventure." And the gondola carried them away, deeper into the velvet embrace of the Venetian night.